Hello again. If you're here, I'm Shay, and today's video I am going to hopefully be making, I haven't decided if I'm going to make the overalls yet or the pinafore, but one of these I'm going to start cutting out this pattern and hopefully going to be using this nice heavier weight brown cotton to make this. So this pattern is McCall's L9603 and it comes extra small to extra large. I am going to, if I make the overalls, I'm going to make a little bit of a difference here. There's a lot of gathering up at the top of these pants, which I personally don't think is going to be very flattering. So instead of doing that, I'm hoping to add some darts to the front and the back to give it more of a shape. So I'm just going to be cutting this out and hopefully trying to make these overalls today. I'll update you once I get the pieces cut out. Okay, so after some arguing with this fabric, which apparently is mildly slippery, I have actually laid out all my pattern pieces. I didn't do it the way that the pattern always suggests. It gives you like a layout suggestion depending on the size of your fabric. I never really pay too much attention to that. It never really works out the way that it says on here when I try it, so I just make sure that my shade of grain is the right direction and I kind of pin accordingly. I did cut out this piece to be the size small instead of the extra small because I'd rather have a little bit more and take it in than a little bit less and not be able to. So I'm next going to just cut out the pieces and then we will see about trying to read the instructions on how to do it. And I'm very excited. I didn't realize that this pattern has pockets. So, extra points. It's the pocket. Okay, so I read the directions and it seems pretty straightforward. I'm probably going to eat those words, but basically what it wants to do first is it wants me to take my front and back and attach the pockets to my pants pieces. So I am going to start there. I cut this on the fold, so I'm gonna just undo this. That's not the right pair of scissors. Just gonna undo this real quick so that these are in fact two pieces and not connected at the waistband, because that would make them a little bit hard to wear. Okay, so I assume that attaching pockets is not like rocket science or anything. I'm gonna just reference whether or not it wants me to start with the front or the back. Pin one pocket to each front, right sides together. At outside leg seams, match dots and waist edges, stitch 1/4 of an inch from the edge. Okay, so we are starting with the front, which happens to be which side? This side. So if you're following along with us for your, like if you have this pattern, it's the 11 is the front. So here are my two fronts, right? Those are going to be sewed down the center in a minute, but I only cut one pocket by accident. So I am going to come right back after I cut another pocket out because let's just be real, it would be very sad if there was only one pocket. I mean, but the gist is basically why does that seem so off? Let's see. Oh, okay. So it wants me to go from the waistband to the bottom here, and then where the little markings are that I made are where your opening is going to be. So you're going to stitch from here to here and then here down. Okay, so give me just a second. I'm going to just cut out another set of pockets and I'll be right back. So I have cut out the correct number of pockets. So I'm going to attempt to attach these pockets. Let's see. So from here to here is where my hand is supposed to go in. So, but I don't know how that raw finish is a thing. Oh, whatever. Worst comes to worst, I can hand sew it and finish the edge. Okay, so next. Besides destroying a brand new pin accidentally just now, seems like it worked out. My tension might need to be adjusted just slightly on this piece because it seems like it's pulling. So, okay, so it did work. That is my front, right? This fabric, by the way, is the same on both sides, so it doesn't have like a right and a wrong side. but that's something to pay attention to if you're sewing, because there's nothing like sewing a pocket on backwards, guys. So, okay, so that's what it looks like, and then the other pocket will be attached to that and then sewn on the inside out part, I think. So, that portion of my pants are done. So this is my fronts, right? And it's gonna have me do the same thing to the back sides. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take my little washable pencil here and I'm gonna mark these with an F so I don't get them confused, just to be safe. Okay, so those are my fronts. Those are behind me for now. And then we gotta tackle the back. The back side of this looks like it's way bigger. And like, I know butt and everything, like your butt has to fit in here, but I'm a little concerned. I think I am gonna, because it does have gathering up on the top seams here, I think what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna add darts. I'm gonna try it on once I put the front and back legs together, just to see how much there actually is, because I don't personally look good with like a bunch of gathering right at like my hip line, because I have a larger hip. We're gonna sew our backs to themselves. And if you watched my other video on making overalls where I made the pair from scratch, that came out okay. I didn't obviously follow a pattern, but this is basically what you do when you make pants. You just attach this like middle like crotch section, and then this gets attached to the front. So if you sew it all the way up, then you can't get your legs in there. Okay, so I'm gonna sew this down, and then I'm gonna do the same exact thing on the front end. Okay, so that's my back there. And then I'm gonna do the same thing to my front real quick. So we're gonna do right sides facing. This is my front, and then this here is my back. Right sides facing, and then it wants us to pin and sew around the pockets and down the side seams on the leg. So I don't know if you can see me or not, but I have tried it on, and holy crap, this pattern is way bigger. Like, there must be a lot of ease in it, because it's like, it's huge. So this is the small. What I am gonna do is I am going to put darts in the front, but I'm gonna run the seams all the way down the leg on both sides so that there is a front seam design, and I'm just gonna be okay with that, because that's how I'm gonna take in the legs so that this fits me, because I really, really want to wear this, but as it stands this way, it's gonna be frumpy as shit on me, and because I'm so petite, that style does not look good on me. So from here on out, we're gonna be differing from the pattern. So if you want to continue to follow the rest of the pattern, totally understand. The gathered front will look good on some people. I just don't prefer it. So from here on out, we're just gonna be winging it. And so I am going to be, first I'm gonna unpick the back seam a little bit so that I can get these on and off to try them on, because I did sew up that back seam by accident where the zipper goes. I need to fix that anyway. So I'm gonna undo that so I can get these on and off to try them on. And then what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna create a seam all the way down the front and all the way down the back of the leg on both sides. And then we will adjust our waistband and put on the front bib piece, which is over here, accordingly. So hold on to your pants, because, well, hold on to my pants maybe, because this is gonna be interesting. But I'm not gonna make you watch me unpick this. I'm just gonna do this, and then I will do those front seams, and then I will come back to you after I've done it to show you what I did and what that looks like. Okay, so after a couple fittings and a little bit of finagling, I have put seams down the front and back on both sides to take it in. So it's a little bit weird to look at right now, but once I show you guys the finished product, it'll make sense. Right now I'm working on the waistband. I've pretty much given up on following the directions. Don't do that, don't be me. However, it's still pretty okay so far. I'm just cutting some extra strings here that are fraying. Basically, what you're going to do for the waistband is you're just going to fit your edges to edges and then make sure that you have center front. And then what I did was, I don't know if the actual instructions say to do this, but I connected all 3 of my front side and back side pieces just as one waistband. That's kind of how I do things. It's probably not how they want you to do it, but what I'm going to be doing is right sides facing. I'm going to line up my seam to seam, and honestly, if I was to do this again, I totally would put the waistband on before closing up the pants, because it's a lot easier to insert a waistband when things are flat. And also, I'm going to be mindful of putting the pockets to the front, because those are going to also be pinned to the waistband so that they don't flop around loosely inside the pants. So I'm going to just pin those all together. I'm going to pin the waistband on, sew it down, and then all I have left is the bib portion, which I'm not even sure if I'm going to actually attach to the pants, because the pants are, now that I've taken them in, they're actually really, really high-waisted, and I'm not sure if this is going to actually be too big for my body. So I may end up taking it down. I may end up not putting it on at all. I might just do straps, like suspender style overalls. So we will see. And then I do have the straps that I cut out over here. So I will do that, and then I will show you guys where I'm at. Okay, so after this point, I started to drift away from the pattern. What happened was, when I did my little try on, after I got all the pieces sewn together, it turned out that the piece was 6 inches too big. That's a lot. So the pattern actually calls for gathering like here, which is like right around the waistline, and I knew that that wasn't going to be something that I was going to like, so I decided that I was going to put pleating on the sides. So even with the pleating, it was still really, really big. So what I ended up doing was I put seams down the front. You'll see it in the photo clips. I put seams down the front as well as all the way down the back. So that's the first thing that I did that wasn't in the pattern. Then I went kind of rogue here. So then what I did was I put the rest of the pieces together. I ended up changing where the zipper is on this pattern. There is a zipper up the back, like the back seam. I didn't like how that looked. It kind of was like a wedgie almost. It didn't look very flattering. So I ended up putting it on the side here where my hip is, just inside of where the pocket sits. The pockets were pretty easy to put in. That's what they have you do first. I do not like the order that they have you do all of this in. Some of it is kind of backwards and doesn't really make sense as far as the cohesiveness of putting a pattern together the easiest. But I did follow the directions up until that point. Secondly, I ended up taking some length off the bottom. They were also super long, and I accidentally made them a little bit too short. You'll see that in the clip. They're like this much higher than where they should be on my boot, but I am okay with it. They ended up being like a ankle grazing length, and I can roll the hem at the bottom and it gives it kind of a cute style. So I'm okay with that. Next, what I did was the top here with the straps, and I originally cut this out without the little front pocket. The pattern does have the little front pocket pattern piece, so I did use that. And that was pretty easy. You just attach it to the waistband. Again, I didn't really like how they did the waistband. They have you cut it in 3 sections, and I believe that it could have been cut in 1 section and not had extra seams, which I have to now fix because they have come apart slightly, just because that's extra points of sewing. So then what I did different was this back piece. So originally the straps just went from front to back. I'll show you in the little piece here. They just went from front to back, and that was really not flattering on my body type. I am more of a wide hip person, so what happened was I was ending up with a weird gap here, and the straps weren't sitting right. So I ended up doing a little bit of looking on Pinterest to see other pairs of overalls and how they were constructed, and then I ended up making this little sort of triangle piece and then attaching the straps to that. The next thing I changed was this front section here. These right now are tied, and I handmade large eyelets for them. I just made it so that you could put the loops through there and then tie them off. This originally called for, I think, buttons. Let me check. Yeah, it originally called for 2 buttons, but I didn't like how that looked. I was gonna do snaps. I didn't really like that either, just because they're not adjustable. So the range of motion is really low once you have buttons or snaps on it. So I wanted to be able to control that a little bit better, and that is achieved by doing the little ties instead. So, and then lastly, I ended up putting back pockets on the back portion of the pants because they didn't have any back pockets either, and I felt that that was a little bit annoying. They do have front pockets, and I will give that pattern an A+ for the front pockets, because a pair of overalls without pockets, like, what is that? So the back pockets were a must-have for me. I needed them for not only shaping, because they help shape the cut of the pants, but also for convenience, because I'm always carrying things around in my pockets. So overall, I would give this pattern like a 6 out of 10. I think that it wasn't a bad pattern. I did pay $2.97 for it, and I don't know if I said this already, but it was the McCall's L9603. So I got it from my local Walmart, so it is a beginner-friendly pattern for sure. But again, there were some things I obviously didn't like about it, but I am excited to try it again with the modifications that I did to this one. I have bought some denim, and I am excited to see how that works out with a different kind of fabric. This was a sort of like a mid-weight suiting. It's like a cotton blend suiting. It has a little bit of stretch to it, but I got some light stretch denim to see how it does with this pattern as well. So I will let you guys know how that turns out. But overall, I think that these yeah, we're at that level today. So my conclusion is that these pants came out really great. I've worn them a ton already. They have been washed. They didn't shrink. So I'm happy about that. I think that they're very wearable for fall and winter time. And I hope you guys enjoyed me fumbling through this process with you. And I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already done that. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!